Can you imagine if Tom Riddle had a normal upbringing with a normal family? If his father had indeed stayed around and stayed married to his mother, even if his father never abandoned him in general, or if his mother had just found that extra desire to continue on living, how different that young boy's life would have been. How his early years may have shaped his future a lot differently had he not created such a devastating monster within him. What would happen? How would Tom's life have changed? Would there still be a Lord Voldemort? A wizarding war? A prophecy? Stick around for today's video, everyone. It's certainly not one to miss. So guys, before I start this video, I'm just going to quickly say, I know Tom Riddle Sr. wouldn't have stayed with Merope Gaunt for any reason at all. He was under the effects of a love potion, so I'm well aware there was no chance of it happening. So this is just to address the "this is silly, he'd never stay with her" kind of comments. I know, I get it, but this is Harry Potter Folklore, it's a Harry Potter channel, it's all things Harry Potter, and what if videos with unthinkable scenarios are what I love to do more than anything, and from reading the comments, it's what you guys love the most as well. So let's get started, and let's talk about the possibility of if Tom Riddle was raised in a normal family, if his mother and father were always in his life, if he had a regular upbringing. So we start with his father, Tom Sr., who's been under the influence of an extremely strong love potion for quite a long time at this stage. Now, this enhances his feelings for Merope, that's true, but what remains is the fact that he still has some of his own conscious mind. He still remembers the time that he has spent with her. He still remembers good times they had. She's not actually the worst company. Merope, having Tom under the love potion, was so wrong on so many levels, and that's a result of her own abusive upbringing, never feeling she was good enough, never believing she could have the man she wants. So in that sense, it did affect her mentally. She wasn't in a healthy mindset when placing him under the effects of the potion. So I just want to clear up, I am in no way justifying what she did. But as I said, Tom remembers their time together, and despite having no natural feelings of love for her now that he's returned to his normal mindset, he decides to stay around purely for the reason that he has a child on the way. Tom Sr. decides not to abandon his child, and is quite overjoyed when he discovers it's a boy, his own son, to raise as he sees fit. I think that in the original timeline, had he had any sort of feelings for Merope, he'd have stayed too, but was simply horrified at what had happened to him and what he had been subjected to. Now, the thing with Tom Sr. is the fact that he was quite vain, smug, and felt like his status elevated him above others. He was very cunning and would always look for ways to succeed. Merope informs him that she's a witch and introduces him to magic and what it can do. Tom literally views magic as a way of helping him gain an advantage in obtaining more wealth and influencing people, just like he was under his wife. Despite what Tom had been through, he wasn't the nicest person in the world. Now, young Tom Jr. would be born into the best of both worlds. He'd have parents who adored him and would be well off financially too, so it's a nice upbringing for the boy. However, his maternal grandfather would not be happy at the fact he was constantly in the Riddle Manor, close to his paternal grandparents, and would also be attending Hogwarts when he was of age, which infuriated Marvolo even more as he wanted Tom to be educated at home, by him. With Merope living in the manor with her son and husband, there was nothing Marvolo could do other than disown her and the boy. And speaking of the living arrangements, Tom Sr. would no longer have any sort of romantic relationship with Merope. She was living in separate quarters and was there purely for the sake of their son. Tom Jr. grows up quite privileged. He has a smugness about him and is eager to honour his heritage by becoming the best wizard he can be after showing signs of quite powerful magic early on. He doesn't resent his mother for her timidness and her weak-minded nature, but rather pities her. The first really kind of massive change is that with Tom never being placed in Wool's orphanage, with him having no resentment at being abandoned, there's no reason for him to hate the world. There's no reason for the monster within him to ever develop. Don't get me wrong, Tom would do unjust things and break rules and be driven by his ambition. He would still be sorted into Slytherin House and still show the strong leadership and academic skills as he always had in the original timeline. He still planned on changing the wizarding world for the better, but he'd achieve it by different means. While in school, as Tom learns more and more about pureblood importance and how many frowned upon Muggleborns and Muggles in general, Tom as a Slytherin knows he can't build his reputation without a more refined background. He researches the Gaunt family thoroughly and discovers just how prominent, privileged and wealthy the family once were. Tom makes it his mission, his goal, to restore the Gaunt name to its former glory. He decides to abandon the Riddle surname and instead be known as Tom Marvolo Gaunt, infuriating his father, who threatens Tom with harm should he go through with such a move. Tom, a lot more skilled magically than many his age, raises his wand to his father's chest and warns him not to threaten him or ever raise a hand to him. Now going by Tom Gaunt, he continues to excel in his studies and even, for some time, has Albus Dumbledore praising his abilities. He does gather his group of Slytherin followers as he previously had in the original timeline, but with a plan to dominate the world through politics, get into power and change the world how they see fit. Tom is still practicing dark magic and begins many dark experiments in order to better himself. His ambition to achieve greatness never changed. He does discover Horcruxes also, but because he'd never killed someone before, he's hesitant to do so. Tom doesn't fear death like he once had, not like he had originally, meaning that desperation for immortality simply isn't there, meaning Lord Voldemort is never born. Tom sets his sights on becoming the youngest ever Minister for Magic in a bid to change the magical world for the better. Now, the thing is, Tom wouldn't do it alone, and he wouldn't do it legally either. Not that he couldn't become elected, but he'd want to be in the position a lot sooner rather than later. He'd use his growing influence in politics to put pressure on the current Minister for Magic because of growing concerns about these random attacks by a group of dark wizards known simply as the Knights, a play on the Knights of Walpurgis name. The Knights would cause mayhem all in the name of achieving a better wizarding society. Little do people know it's actually Tom himself behind everything, trying to shape events that will elevate him into a higher position in the Department of Magical Law Enforcement. By eliminating these vigilantes, basically doing nothing except calling off his own arranged attacks, Tom receives immediate praise for his actions and takes one step closer to achieving his overall goal. And that's it for today, everyone. If you guys want me to continue this story in another video, then please let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you think of this video anyway. Have a good day. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your support. Everyone, notifications of uploads are more important than ever. So please, if you haven't already, turn those notifications on to make sure you're notified the moment my video goes live. Making videos is what I love to do. It's my dream and my passion. However, it does cost time and money to produce this content. So if you have $1 to spare to support me on Patreon in exchange for some exclusive unseen content, then you can click the Patreon link below or at the end of this video. Please only support me if you can afford it. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at InstaDNJ and on Twitter at PotterFolklore. Check out my other videos appearing on screen, and please make sure, most importantly, to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again everyone, and please have a great day.